Right, it's a bit about us getting a bit more radical. How many of you remember Gideon was asked by God to subtract the troops? And he ended up with 300 troops against an army that was unable to be counted. Then you look at the charge of the Light Brigade. 600 men went into battle and were virtually wiped out. Very interesting, 195 mounts were left standing at the end of it, that's all. You've got these two oppositions. You've got the one who was told by God to go in with 300, because that sounds very radical, up against a massive army. Then you've got the charge of the Light Brigade, and it was, well, we've always done it that way. You know, we British have always done it that way. And they got wiped out. And you know, in many ways, they were totally unprepared. They didn't listen. And, you know, God is seeing this in the church today, in Britain. Think about what's going on in our own country. Recently, all those abuses going on. It's in Barry as well. You know, it's not just in Rotherham. You know, there are girls getting sold from Barry into slavery. And it's right on our doorstep. And I honestly believe that God is saying that we need to start getting very radical about things. We seem to have been like the resistance. Now, a resistance always operates in occupied countries. An army goes in to take the land. We are an army. We're not a resistance. We are the army of the living God. And we need to get into our heads that we are no longer pacifists. We're no longer able to stand peacefully on the side. God has given us weapons that we need to start using. Remember Isaiah, the word I gave earlier on when we first came here? Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. And for many of us, well, we've always done it this way. You know, and I think God is saying we need to really look at some radical thinking, radical ways of reaching people. World War II, Britain was totally unprepared for. Yet there were certain people that were saying, you need to get ready. Same in the church. The church is unprepared for what is happening. Thank goodness there are certain people that know what's going on. But we need to get the whole army behind us. And as I say, look around at what's going on in the world. You just mentioned about ISIS. I mean, they're on our doorstep, for goodness sake. You know, it's time that we started to speak out and get radical. It's time that we really nailed our colours to the flag, because we are seeing in Britain people, Christians, getting persecuted, i.e. for that boarding house, because a bunch of gays went in there and they refused them, and the government turned round and prosecuted them. I'm sorry, but we need to start standing up against these. You know, it's not a case of disliking the people. We love the people, but we hate the sin. And we need to start getting that across to them. We're in a position, I honestly believe, that Britain was in World War II when it first started, unprepared. But God now is really trying to impact on us. Get prepared. Get radical. Start thinking outside the box. You know, there's a lost world out there. There's a huge amount of people that need reaching. And I honestly think if we stay in our mindset, we'll lose them. We need to really prepare ourselves to be radical and start thinking way outside the box. Thank you.